Thank you for tuning in to the Brasel Real Estate Broadcast, where each week we will be covering today's real estate news, tips, tricks, and trends in the Kansas City real estate market. Hosted by the Brasel Real Estate Group at RE/MAX Heritage, out of Blue Springs, Missouri. And here's today's host.
Hi, thank you for joining us today at the Brasel Real Estate Podcast. It's May 1st, 2019. And I have Tracy Keene here. She's a realtor on our team. And we have Deb Brasel with Motto Mortgage. And then Deric Schroeder will be joining us from Homestead Inspection Company. Thanks for joining. If you guys have any questions, just put them below and we'll address them. All right, it's May 1st, Market Mayhem. And Tracy's here with me, and so we're just going to go through some of the cities, and if there's any cities that you guys are interested in that we don't mention, just shoot a question below and we'll get the stats for you. So we're going to start off in Belton. From 0 to 100 homes, there is 1.36 months supply. From 100,000 to 200,000, there is half a month's supply of homes in Belton, and from 200 to 300,000, there's a 4-month supply of homes in Belton.
And then in Blue Springs, from 0 to 100,000, it's 1 month supply. And also in Blue Springs, from 100 to 200,000, it's 2.25 month supply. And then the 200 to 300,000 is 1 month supply.
Yep. And Green Valley from 0 to 100 has no homes, so 0 month supply. 100 to 200 in Green Valley is 0.29 months supply, so pretty low. 2 to 300 is a 2.91 month supply in Green Valley.
And then in Grandview, 0 to 100,000 is a 0.80 month supply. And then the 100 to 200,000 is 0.25. And then the 200 to 300,000 is 1.8.
Independence has from 0 to 100, 1.6 month supply. From 100 to 200,000 is a 0.79 month supply. And from 200 to 300 is 2.34 months supply.
And then in Kansas City, 0 to 100,000 is 2.76 month supply. The 100 to 200,000 range is 1.61 months supply. And then the 200 to 300 range is 2.32 months supply. Still pretty low.
Mm-hmm. Raymore, 0 to 100,000 is a 0 month supply. 100 to 200,000, 1.12 month supply. 2 to 300,000 is a 2.1 month supply.
And then in Raytown, 0 to 100,000 is 1.45. 100,000 to 200,000 is 1.06. And then a 200 to 300 range is 1.71 month supply.
Yep. So still very low inventory. What this means when we say supply is basically if nothing else was listed from this point on, there would be no homes to buy at the end of the month supply that we gave you. So let us know if you guys have any questions. It's time for our What the Heck segment. In real estate, we have terms that we throw out that sometimes public might not know what we're talking about. So today we're going to talk about CMA, also known as the Comparative Market Analysis. So Tracy, when would you use a CMA?
Well, we would use it with a seller. We take in to show them what other houses in the area have sold, what are under contract, what are pending, and then also with a buyer. So that way they would know the differences of the layouts and stuff on the houses and then what they would go for comparatively.
Perfect. Yep. I know when we do a CMA, sometimes you really stick to the neighborhood that the house is in. And sometimes, depending on the layout, we have to go a little bit outside of the neighborhood to find comparable properties to put on the CMA and to make sure that we're pricing your home right. But my goal always when I bring a CMA into a seller is to kind of lay it out there, look at what's going on in the market, what houses are comparable to yours, and help you self-discover what price you want to price your home at and what you can expect it to sell at. So that's one of the strong uses of the CMA that we use. And then, like you said, with the buyers, if a buyer wants to put an offer in on a home, they might want to know, am I paying too much for this house? And in this market, you know, there's multiple offers on everything, and buyers want houses, but they might not want to pay too much. And so that really can help them self-discover where they want to be and help us look at what's a good price for that house also. So,
well, and it's also, we're doing apples to apples and not apples to oranges. We're doing a comparison of if it has granite countertops in the kitchen versus, Formica, or if it has 2 bathrooms versus 1 bathroom, or 2 garages versus 1 garage. I mean, and then like you said a minute ago, the layout, ranch versus a side by side, those type of things. It's we're looking at everything to match up, as much as we can.
Yeah.
And then also square footage. You're not going to pay the same for something that is 800 square feet versus 1,500 square feet.
Yeah, absolutely. So those are some of the stuff we look at on a CMA. And if you guys have any questions about that or would like to see a CMA, just feel free to comment below. And we'd be happy to get with you and help you. All right, here is our Buyer Bite segment. So today with buyers, we're going to be talking about picking the right lender. There's a lot of different options that you have when you go to look online for your lender or when you go in person. So one thing I highly recommend is getting with your real estate agent. They usually have a lender that they work with that they can introduce you to. But a lot of people like to go online and look at certain companies. So what are your thoughts on that, Tracy?
I think they ought to think about working with someone local because it's easy to meet with them and go over paperwork. It's easy to submit papers too if they've got a big stack of like their tax records and stuff like that instead of scanning. A lot of people don't have scanners, so it's hard to get that information to your lender.
Yeah.
And a face-to-face with a lender is nice because it's just their personality, and you know how you're working with them. I think it just works out good that way.
Yeah. And Deb is a lender here with Motto Mortgage. And how often do you find that people come into the office and sit with you? And
Usually, I would tell you about 2 or 3 times a month somebody will come in, but I mean, most of it we really do over the phone and internet, but we love the option that we can do both.
Yeah.
And I love meeting people in person. It's just people's time is what I'm respecting, so whatever works for them.
Yeah. Yeah. I know that we've done on a deal we've done that one of my clients came in and sat down with all of her paperwork and went over it with you, and I think that was really helpful to her to be able to do that.
I think it is too. I mean, it's just the personal touch, and you connect and learn more about them personally, and they see who you are. You're not just a name on a card or an email coming across.
Yep. So. Yeah. And then purchasing a home is a stressful time, and so it does help to have somebody that you like as your lender, someone that you can talk to, that if you're going to call, they're going to answer the phone. And there's a lot of questions that come up that get fielded, and sometimes I get questions from my clients and I'm like, oh, that's actually something the lender needs to answer, because it's just the information that they have. But you were going to come talk to us about some do's and don'ts.
Yes. Yeah. I think it's good information to share up front, because a lot of times, I mean, most people have not bought before when they come to us, and they want to know what's the process, things that they don't even think to ask about that they need to know. We like to hit on that up front. So I'm going to kind of cover some of that today.
Perfect.
So just kind of our do's and don'ts, basic list of preparing to buy for a home. One thing that's a big deal is you want to stay on a job as long as possible. We look for a 2-year job history, and you can change jobs. You just need to be in the same industry. But if you don't do more than 3 changes in that 2-year look back, because then you look unstable. And I've seen that be a problem.
Yeah.
In underwriting.
I actually had a listing where the buyer had 3 jobs and then ended up switching to a 4th job during the process, and actually was denied for the house. So it was kind of sad for the sellers.
Right. You definitely don't want to quit a job while you're in, that 2-year look back. You don't want to have gaps of 6 months or more. So just be really cognizant of building a solid 2-year history, because you're going to look like you're responsible and can afford to pay your payments and will pay your payments. Another thing, just establish credit on your own. A lot of people will come to us with no credit score, and that's okay. We can do it, but you're going to get a lot better rate if you'll go ahead and establish basically 3 lines of credit. And general rule that I've always followed is 1 installment loan to 2 revolving accounts. So revolving accounts are going to be more like your credit cards, but you have to be really, really careful how you use them, because if you use over 50% of whatever that credit line is that they give you, then it works against you. So best rule of thumb is keep it about 10% of whatever that line is they give you. So in the case of a $500 card, you want to do, where you're not over 10%, being $50. And you definitely want to pay it on time. You don't want any late pays, because when I say late pays, if you go over 30 days late, then it's going to kill you on your credit. But a late pay in general is if you don't pay it on time, they note that too. So it's really important that you use it correctly. Rent, that's another thing that I think people kind of mess up on. They pay cash. Some of our loans, you don't have to actually prove rent, which is kind of cool. Most of the time you don't. But in the event that you do need it, if you've paid cash and it's to an individual, then you can't really prove you paid rent. So it's always advisable to pay by check, or worst case, money order, cashier's check, something like that. A management company, if they rent from a management company, then we can go to them and do a verification of rent, so that works.
Can you get a letter from a landlord saying that you paid if it was cash?
You can, as long as it's not the house that you're buying. If it's the house you're renting and you're wanting to buy it, then you'll need at least a 6-month history of being there to kind of get around some of that. They recently kind of loosened up on that, because it used to be have to pay 12 months, buy check, or no go. Okay. But ran into it recently where he did have 2 cash payments in November and then December, so we had like gaps we couldn't prove, but he'd been there for over 6 months, so that they will accept it.
Nice.
Which is cool.
Good to know. Good question.
So another thing is just definitely don't go late, don't go 30 days late, because that will really hurt you. Student loans are a big problem. I see people think that it's in deferment, so really stay up on that. Medical bills too, another thing, they'll hit you like really quick if you haven't paid a medical bill, so stay on top of that. People sometimes think like their insurance paid it and they didn't, or somehow it just got messed up, but it hits it really quick. And definitely don't put any disputes on your credit report. That's another thing, like people start trying to work on their credit and they'll put this account's disputed. So then they have to get the word dispute removed, because the credit bureaus don't recognize it as a derogatory account because it's disputed. But when you go into lending, you have to have the real facts about what you have going on. And if you've not paid your bills on time and you have it disputed, they need to know that, it actually was a derogatory account. So they have to remove it, and then it gets credit re-pulled back in. And we talked about job history, the 2 years. That's really important. And then save as much money as you can, because right now FHA's tightened up a little bit, and I'm seeing people that I used to get an approve eligible on now becoming a refer. So the key to getting approved there is, having 3 months of reserves.
Deric Schroeder is joining us from Homestead Inspection Company for our Seller Sound Off segment. And Seller Sound Off is where we talk about things that sellers can look forward to, or how to get your home ready for the market. So today we're going to talk to him about getting a possible pre-inspection. Is that something that a seller should consider doing on their home?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we see quite a few of them, especially if if the market is as hot as it is right now. It gives you a little bit of an advantage. You can definitely, find some items that you can either have evaluated or work on yourself once you get that inspection done. So it kind of gives you a step ahead of the game, and you can kind of know when someone comes in with an offer, where you stand on that. One thing that I had on inspection just today was one of the window wells of the house was full of debris and leaves, and it had standing water in it. So hopefully, if you had a pre-listing, the inspector might have noted that window well was full of debris to get that cleaned out. Mm-hmm. Again, that costs $0. That wouldn't have cost you anything to do, but now they have water in their basement, and they probably had no idea that they were, in danger for that.
Yeah.
So having that pre-listing inspection done would have helped out a lot.
Yeah. Yeah. Do you ever recommend to have your sellers do a pre-inspection?
I have not, but I've heard good things and bad things about it. Mm-hmm. Good is that they can have things ready for getting it on the market. Bad is that they don't want to put out the extra money if they have to do repairs, but then they'll know about the repairs ahead of time. Right. So it's a give or take. It
is, and it kind of depends on what kind of strategy you want to take, and the recommendation by the listing agent, or just how the seller feels comfortable, because those defects are going to come up either way. Mm-hmm. If you've got double tap breakers in the panel,
Definitely.
The inspector is going to find it. Obviously, abnormal cracking in the foundation or a poor roof or something along those lines, it's going to be found whether it's after the contract is signed or before. So again, like I said, a benefit is if you have it done, then you can either have some repairs done, and then you can show the potential buyer that you're being proactive. But it's some money out of the pocket. So you just have to figure if that's the kind of strategy you want to take. And then if you are going to have some of those things done, you can write them down. You can write down who did the repair or when it was done, and then you can kind of have it done on your terms as well. If it's something that you're able to accomplish yourself, because either you're qualified in that area or just cleaning the gutters out. If they're asking for a gutter company to come out or a specific trade to come out, and that was something you could remedy yourself, then you have an opportunity to kind of get ahead of the game.
Right.
So those are some benefits that we see from it, but it's definitely depends on your game plan when it comes to selling.
Yeah, definitely something to consider and talk to your agent about if you're getting ready to list your home. So some other stuff on the seller sound off, roofs. I know when I go to a listing appointment, if I look at the roof and it looks really worn, that's going to be one of the first things I address with the people, because if you have a house and the roof is not good, it's going to be a little tough to get a buyer to buy that, or even to get the buyer to be able to insure it.
Right.
So that's another thing that would come up on a pre-list inspection, and definitely something you want to look at before listing the house.
And if you can have, like, if there is hail damage that shows up and you're able to get a hail claim on it through your insurance company, then now you can mark it as a brand new roof.
Yeah.
Another big selling point, bringing more people to the table for your property.
Absolutely. Yep. Yeah. What things do you recommend for your sellers to do before listing?
Have a fireplace checked.
Yeah.
Because I have had multiple buyers do fireplace inspections, and there's always either the cap on top is messed up, or the flue, or the mortar is messed up inside, or it needs cleaning. I had one just last week that the buildup of the creosote was so bad that they couldn't even do an inspection. It needed to be cleaned first.
Yeah. Did you just have a fireplace cleaned?
I did.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And how much does that run?
It was about $150.
Yeah. Yeah. So definitely worth doing for your personal safety and your family safety before you start doing that. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yep. Windows. Now, I was at an inspection just earlier today also, and the windows have some moisture coming in, and some of the wood around the windows you can tell it's got some moisture damage. So that's something that we're looking to get fixed. So
yeah, and with windows, when we're looking at them as a home inspector, one thing we're looking for is thermal pane failure. So if we have a window that's real dirty or grimy, sometimes you'll get some like of a mossy type of a film over on the outside of it. If it's a 2-story window and we're not able to clean that off on the outside, then it's tough for us to tell if it has a thermal pane failure or not. So we might be calling out something that looks like a thermal pane failure to us because we want our client to know that's a possibility, and it could just be dirty. So as a seller, if you can get those windows cleaned, some of them will tilt in, you can clean them real easy, get them cleaned, and then that way there's a less likelihood of an inspector either calling out a window incorrectly, and it's going to make your house look better.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yep. What is the fix to those thermal pane failures?
Well,
I've seen those.
Yeah, a lot of times people will have them replaced. Sometimes they feel it's easier to have it replaced. There are a few companies that will actually come into the field, remove the pane of glass, and put the gas back in it and seal it up.
Yeah.
I've never seen it done, but I've had a lot of people tell me that it's possible. So there is that fix, and it's not something you necessarily have to get rid of the whole window. If it's a double hung window, it might just be replacing the bottom sash or the top sash. And then basically what it is that gas in between the seal has broken, so you're starting to get some condensation in there.
Yeah.
And again, those are things that you might see on one day but not on a different day, just depending on the different temperature differences between outside and inside. If it's real hot outside and you've got the air conditioner cranked on the inside, they might fog up, and vice versa. So it might be something you never see, but just because maybe the inspector has turned the heat up real high in the house, to really get it cranking, might be something that comes up because he's running a little bit different than what you might keep your normal house temperatures.
Interesting.
The other thing you were talking about the wood, and might have been damage or moisture. If there's a lot of wood rot, that can also affect the loan, because FHA is really funny about wood rot and peeling paint. So that's something that a seller would need to take care of prior to putting it on the market if they're going to try to sell it FHA. And FHA is one of the bigger easier loans out there right now. So
yes. Yep. Yeah. So definitely could be a good idea, something you want to consider to get those pre-inspections, and that way there's no surprises that come up later, and I had an inspection done where I was representing the buyers, and there was a few really easy things that came up that I thought, it's too bad they didn't get a pre-inspection, because they could have fixed it and inspections would have went real smooth, and instead it didn't go smooth over some very small stuff. So.
Yeah. The less things that can be on the list, the better the house looks to that potential buyer.
Yep.
So even if it's tightening toilets down, or like we said, cleaning windows, cleaning the gutters out, adding soil around the house. I mean, just some simple things. Those things are checked off the list, and they're not even going to show up, and so it'll look better for the buyer for sure.
Yep, awesome. Well, thanks so much for joining us for our seller sound off, and thanks to you guys. If you have any questions, just put them below.
Thanks for listening to the Brasel Real Estate Broadcast with the Brasel Real Estate Groups at RE/MAX Heritage. If you like our show and would like to keep up with our upcoming episodes, please like our Facebook page, the Brasel Real Estate Group, where we go live every Wednesday. Or you can find us on YouTube at the Brasel Real Estate Group page. To find out more about our real estate services, you can find us at www.braselrealestategroup.com or contact us at 816-897-5151. Thanks again for tuning in, and have a great day. Our friends at Homestead Inspection Company have been serving the Kansas City metro area for over 27 years. Homestead's inspectors can help you take control of a real estate transaction by helping you identify potential problems, survey the property overall condition, consider possible repairs and upgrades, help discover environmental hazards, take measure of your investment decision, and experience confidence and peace of mind during negotiations. Homestead covers inspections for seller pre-inspections, buyer home inspections, multifamily, and commercial property inspections. Contact Homestead today at www.homestead-inspection.com or 816-833-1090 for all your inspection needs. If you're in the market to find a home, refinance your existing home, or thinking about a reverse mortgage, contact Deb Brasel at Motto Mortgage Heritage. Deb's an award-winning mortgage broker who's been in the mortgage business for almost 20 years. Contact Deb today to get pre-approved at 816-678-9283. Deb Brasel is a licensed mortgage broker, NMLS number 299821. Motto Mortgage Heritage Office can be located at 1900 Northwest South Outer Road, Suite 209, Blue Springs, Missouri, 64015. Office NMLS number 1720438. Each office is independently owned, operated, and licensed.